Subscribius Nowius. Like Buttonus Smashopolis. Sharosity Concosity. Is this thing on? Party people, and the place to be. What's going on? Is now I'm gonna do this all day. Fuck it. And the place to be. What's going on? It's me. If it's Sunday, it must be time for yet another long overdue movie review. If you haven't figured it out, that by everything that you see, this time what we're watching is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer / Philosopher's Stone from all the way back in 2001. Now, I know what you must be thinking. Hey, Surreal, how in the world have you never seen this Harry Potter movie? Well, I'll tell you, my friends, I've never seen any Harry Potter movie. Yeah, that's the whole point of this. That's what we're doing. I'm watching movies I've never seen. That's what we're doing. That's the whole point. The entire point of this. Anyway, I've never seen this. And I can't imagine seeing this when it came out would have ingratiated me more to this movie. I don't know if time ingratiates me more to this movie either. I will say this in the non-spoiler section. The actors are fantastic, particularly the young actors. It sticks out more with the young actors because at this point, they don't have any pedigree underneath them, right? You've got Hans Gruber in this. You've got the dude from Ocean's 12. You've got Maggie Smith being very Maggie Smith in this movie. But these are kids. These are 10, 11-year-old kids at this point. And they have composure. They have screen presence. They have comic timing. They have gravitas. These are great cast picks, honestly. Not just because what's his name, Radcliffe looks like the kid on the book. I'm sure there were millions of kids who look like the kids in the books, but they come to the stage with some presence, and it comes onto the screen. Like, these kids have a presence about them. That's amazing work on the parents' part, on the kids' part, for having the natural inclination for acting. And it seems like as they've grown up, they've kept that inclination, which is another hard thing to do. So a lot of times, the little adult factor in them wears off, or they've lived too long, or there are different elements in kid acting. And it seems like, for the most part, they've been able to carry this into adulthood, particularly Hermione and Harry, into their adult work. Wow, look at that. Sometimes miracles happen, and miracles happen here in terms of their acting. In terms of the special effects, it's hit or miss. I will go with the miss first, and then we'll go into the positive. Actually, we'll go into the successes first. The dude from Ocean's 12, Hagrid, the way they did his perception to make him seem more larger than life was very well done. And even in different things, like there are scenes where he's picking something up, or he touches a student's shoulders, or hugs him, or like puts something down in front of a student or whatever, it looks and feels, again, bigger and larger than life. And it works very well. It seems very practical. It works very well, and it holds up. The rest of the special effects, dear viewer, do not. Unfortunately. And most of the rest of the special effects do not. I will say this. In the beginning of the movie, the effects seem to hold up more because I think they do more practical than they do CGI. But the effects for the rest of the movie age horribly. Horribly. And I'll get into more detail when we get into the spoiler section. But my God, do the special effects not hold up. In terms of the story, it's not... There's a story that intertwines in between little adventures that really don't have anything to do with the story of this particular movie. I know there are other books and there are other movies. There's 7 of them, in fact. Thanks to HBO. I'm going to try to get through all of them before they get rid of them. But there's all these different elements that are more like little adventures than they are an entire through story. But there is a thread that weaves its way through most of, if not all, the other adventures. And again, we'll get to that when we get to that, which actually will be pretty soon, because I'm going to take my sip before we dip into spoiler territory or oh my. This is a decent cocktail. It doesn't keep overnight, but it's a decent cocktail. What are we drinking today, Surreal? We're drinking Myers. And you're not going to believe this. Cherry 7-Up. I know. The trick is not to drown, but to allow the Myers to swim in the cherry 7-Up. Like, it's really about the cherry 7-Up that, allows the Myers to sit. And this, I don't think this was a good batch of Myers. This was not a good batch of Myers. The consistency doesn't seem the way it used to. The strength, depending on how you're doing it, is still there. Actually, it's not really. I had to pour more than I usually have to. It's not a good batch of Myers. All right. Harry Potter is the chosen one, and this is readily apparent as soon as he appears on the screen, even as a baby. If you don't know the story, I mean, how do you not know the story and came here to rag on me? But I'm gonna tell you, listen, I really don't even need to go through a whole lot of spoilers here, honestly, because if you're a Harry Potter fan, you already know this shit, right? And if you came here and you're not a Harry Potter fan, I don't understand. Like maybe there is. Maybe you're not a Harry Potter fan. You came from my analysis of it. More than likely, you've already seen the movie and just want to hear my opinion of it. More than likely. But we'll go through some cliff notes here. I ain't gonna hold you for 2.5 hours. At least I don't think. I understand why this movie, by the way, was 2.5 hours, because like we were talking about earlier, again, it's more about a lot of little adventures that happen to Harry Potter than it really is through the through story. Now, they get to the story, they get to the Sorcerer / Philosopher Stone, but it's really just about that. The reason why, and I had to look this up, because I was looking, I was like, oh, okay, so let me just make sure these are in order, and I saw that there were 2 names, Sorcerer Stone, Philosopher Stone. Apparently in the UK, it's Philosophers, and here in America, and I think India, it's Sorcerers, because we would equate philosophers with, like, Plato, right, and Socrates. Which makes sense, because that's what we think of as philosophers. But rather than just throwing a line in the movie about, philosophers / sorcerers, they just changed the whole thing for us dumb Americans. Fine, whatever, still made billions and millions of dollars. I get that. Anyway, Harry Potter's the chosen one. He's a baby. These wizards leave him on the doorstep of his terrible, terrible family. His awful, awful family. And I want to say they're cartoonish, and they are. They're very British, cartoonish, terrible people. Awful, awful human beings, if you can barely call human beings, that abuse him. That just straight up abuse him. Rather than, and we figure out why, because his aunts, he's connected to this family through his aunt, right? Who's sisters with his mother. His mother and father died fighting He Who Shall Not Be Named, Voldemort, and the wizards left him with them because they are his closest family. That seems like a shitty situation. Like, I get it, you know, and story has to story, right? Story has to story. But wouldn't you rather, and they hate him because he's a wizard, and his mother and her husband were wizards and witches and shit, and the auntie hated them, so they're going to take it out on young Harry. As opposed to sucking up to him? Because this is not a Cinderella situation, right? Where the step-parents were evil to Cinderella for whatever fakakta or no reasons whatsoever. They were just mean to her because they were mean to her. She's a pretty delicate little flower, right? If you suspect that Harry might be a wizard, why not be nice to him? So that if he does grow up to be a wizard, which is likely because he comes from basically pure wizard blood, he'll give you free shit. He'll do nice shit for you. Why not? Why not be nice to him? Like, you know he's going to be the chosen one. You know he's going to be the golden boy. In a few years, why hide him under the stairs? That doesn't make any sense. Because they're evil. If there's not magic involved, you can get away with that line of thinking in movies and fairy tales, etc., etc. But why not just be nice to him? What? Why? This goes back to a point I made on the How Do We Even Get Here podcast. Why go out of your way to be an asshole? Why go out of your way to be an asshole? Like, out of your way. Because if they really hated him that much, and they really didn't want this kid in their lives that much, why not drop him at a fucking orphanage? If you hate your sister so much and can't be bothered with yada 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 because she got all the attention, which was the story she gave when Hagrid came through to scoop Harry up for Hogwarts, ship him off to a fucking orphanage and make him their problem. If you're gonna keep him, and there's a chance, an iota, a scintilla of an instance that he could be a wizard and have superpowers, be nice to the kid. Be nice to him. What? I get it, right? Okay, so the sister wants to baby her kid, right? She's got a kid. She's got a little son who's just like his father, and of course, big fat pig, because you know fat people are terrible, except when they're good. But they're either jolly or evil, and here they're evil, and she wants to take care of her son over Harry because I guess to make up for the sins of her parents. But again, why not be nice to him? Why? Anyway, so they abuse him. That's all Harry's ever known, so he just takes it. Until one day, they go to the zoo for the snot-nosed kid's birthday, and he's fucking with the snake, and Harry Potter accidentally gets rid of the glass case the snake is in, and the kid falls into the snake pit, and rather than attack the kid, the snake just slithers out and gives Harry it says, thanks, and Harry says, no problem, and walks away, and they have a little conversation beforehand, yada, yada, yada. Then, all these invitations to join Hogwarts fly in from owls all over the place, Hogwarts fly, owls all over the place, and the family sees it, and they rip them all up, and the first is one, and then it's a whole bunch of them, they rip them all up, because they, like, fuck you, Harry, again, this is what I'm talking about, be nice to the fucker, like, what are you doing? And you're fucking with wizards, like, you're humans, you're mortals, you're fucking mortals, muggles, in the Harry Potter verse. Just be nice. Just be nice. Anyway, the owls invade the home and leave letters all over the place, and they're trying to burn it all up, and yada, 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 and so they're like, we're just going to get away. And then Hagrid comes and scoops him up and says, hi, Harry, I'm taking you to Hogwarts. Takes him to Hogwarts. Magic happens, right? I'm perfectly fine with all the stuff that happens in terms of the story. And by the way, I'm actually okay with this, because, again, you're talking about, this is the one time that you will ever hear me say this on Long Overdue Movie Reviews. I'm okay with the cartoonish nature of the family and all the fantasy stuff up to this point because it's a kid's fantasy movie. I'm okay with that. That's the one time you'll ever hear me say it's a kid's movie as an excuse. Also, it's 2.5 hours. They can't spend that much time on these fucking people. Okay? They gotta move. We got 2 more hours to get through. Other movies haven't started by the time Harry Potter, the other movies start when Harry Potter gets on the train. Okay? That's when other movies start. So, and I get it. And by the way, it's fine. It's actually reminiscent of Roald Dahl movies, like James and the Giant Peach or The Witches or other fantasy movies like from my youth, right? So I get that, and I understand the shoes that the kids would be in, and they pull it off well. Like, I'm not saying that they don't pull it off well. The actors are good, the direction is good, cinematography is good, the effects up to this point are fairly good. They pull it off. It works. It all works. I'm bitching about the stupid logic of the aunt and uncle, which makes no sense. That's what I'm bitching about. I get, hey, they're written the way they're written, and it works, and all that works. Why, Surreal, are you saying that the effects don't work up until this point? Well, because as Harry and Hagrid are getting supplies for Hogwarts, or they're on their way to get supplies for Hogwarts, he taps a wall a few times and the wall opens up. That's when the effects start to look like crap. And they continue to look like crap through the majority of this movie. And it irks the hell out of me when they're learning to fly and you see the stupid effects. It really bothers me during the Quidditch match where the effects look god-awful. And it just pissed me off during the troll scene. It just pissed me off. Oh, but it's 2001. That was 20 years ago. You can't expect special effects to look that good from 20 years ago. Can you? I'll explain something to you. As I'm taping this, it's 2021 as I'm taping this. There was let's put it in the math. 2021 minus 1993. You know what happened in 1993? There was a little movie, just a little independent project. I don't know if you've heard of it. It came out in 1993. It was called Jurassic Park. The special effects 28 years ago not only looked good for the time, not only looked realistic for the time, but on the whole, and we're really talking on the whole, we're talking maybe 1 or 2 things don't look as good or as crisp. Maybe. If you're stretching and you really want to defend some other shitty movie with shitty effects. But 28 years ago, and by the way, I just saw it. You can go back to the Jurassic Park long overdue movie review. I just saw it. The effects hold up 28 years. It still looks real 28 years later. Let's do this again. 2021 minus 1984. Some 9 years before that. That's 37 years from today. There was, again, a little independent movie. I don't know if you've heard of it. It had one sequel in 1989, and then no other movies about this ever happened. And now a new one is about to come out. This movie, kids, it's a little flick. You might have heard of it. It was called Make 'em hard. It was called Ghostbusters. And the special effects for Ghostbusters, some 37 years ago, on the whole, and honestly, once again, most of them, all the claymation looks better than you want to give it credit for, because again, you want to defend your shitty fucking movies that use cheap CGI. Okay? Ghostbusters, 37 years ago. The special effects still hold up 37 years later. Put you down, Lucille, very carefully. You know what doesn't hold up? This 20-year-old movie. Special effects wise. The special effects look atrocious. Look fucking horrible. I hope they get better, but they don't. And this is a systemic problem. Because you can't give me the excuse of, oh, well, that was just the time. You can't give me that excuse. Because there are examples of better I'm not going to say better. We'll leave the overall assessment of the movie to itself. But special effects wise, there are movies who did special effects way better, way sooner. Stop making excuses for this shit. Stop. Demand better. I have been screaming from the mountaintops for people to fucking demand better for the longest time, and nobody will. Demand better, people. The special effects in Harry Potter sucks. At least in this first one, and at least after Hagrid does the wall shit. That's where it really sucks. Really and truly. From then on, the special effects are the fucking pits. The centaur scene, oh my god. I wanted to kick my television. I wanted to kick my beautiful 55-inch screen television. I wanted to suplex that motherfucker. I wanted to Tazplex it out onto the goddamn lawn. In case you couldn't figure it out, I hate the special effects in this movie. So the kids meet up on the train. Our boy Ron helps Harry find the platform. It's a mystical, magical platform. Hermione meets them on the train. She's a big know-it-all, which really teeters on the line of adorable, precocious, you want to follow this character with the rest of the characters, and downright annoying. But it treads the line well, so you let it pass. Right? Again, this is what I'm talking about. This is good with the bad. Special effects were terrible. Hermione's character works because of the balance that they set for her. Yes, she's a know-it-all. We've all been to school with that kid and it was usually a girl. Because the know-it-all, because the guy who knew it all in class, at a certain point, you know, maybe they stop knowing it all, or maybe they, or the guy who can do no wrong is usually athletic. I wouldn't say that. The guy who knows it all, I don't know. I think there may be a difference. Or the guy who knows it all typically, no, I wouldn't say, maybe there's more of the girls who know it all in class than the guys who know it all in class. Like the Little Miss Perfects. Like I don't know about the Little Mr. Perfects. And I'm not talking about, I don't know about that because there's only one Mr. Perfect. The greatest wrestler, the greatest athlete the World Wrestling Federation has ever produced. And if I had some gum, I'd spit it out and swat it that way. But I don't know. My main point is we've all gone to school with these kids. Right? So I can connect with knowing a kid like Hermione at some point in my scholastic career. But they write her and she performs it and they direct her well so that she is one of this crew as opposed to an antagonist, right? We have our antagonist in the Slytherin household, and we'll get to the households. And in what we think is Snape, is his name, Professor Snape, the potion Professor Hans Gruber. I'm just gonna call him Hans Gruber. We get to Hans Gruber, and he seems to be the one that's really the bad guy, or really Voldemort, because Harry Potter's got the scar and it burns every once in a while. And he's usually around Professor Snape, but it turns out the real culprit is Professor Snape's Weasley little assistant, who set everything up, including the troll, because he was going after the Sorcerer's Stone. The kids go after the Sorcerer's Stone to protect it, and there's a big battle with him. Getting to that point, again, it's hit and miss sometimes, right? Because the door to what's hiding the Sorcerer's Stone is hidden by Fluffy, the tri-headed dog, right? And once again, oh my god, oh my god, I can't with these special effects. I can't. I'm losing my mind with these special. This was a big budget movie. I really hope. There's 7 other movies in this series. 7. Really 6. But they couldn't conceivably come up with a 5-hour kids movie. There's 7 other movies in this series. Okay? I sincerely hope by the time we get to the next one, because this one was already a success. So you take that money and you spend that money on better, practical, where you can, effects. Right? That's what you do. But hopefully, by the time we get to more of these movies, these special effects are better, because I swear to God, I love dogs and I hated Fluffy because the effects were so terrible. However, once we get down the little hatch that Fluffy's guarding, and past the dangerous red vines, or licorice sticks, or whatever the fuck they were, we get to the chessboard, and then we get good special effects again, because I think they were practical. Because I think this is the theme. This is always the theme. This will never not be the theme. Practical effects are better. They just are. Do them whenever you can. How hard is that? How hard is that to figure out? Shit looks better when, if something's supposed to fall, it looks better when it's real and it's falling in front of a real person than if it's fake and it's falling in front of a real person. How hard Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. 90. Practical effects all over the place. Much better effects in this movie overall. Now, we get to the chessboard, though. Good special effects. And this is one of the things I'm talking about. The good special effects, the good scenery, the good world building, like the train station, like the Wizarding World once we get past that stupid freaking wall, like the school itself. I get why they made a Wizarding World of Harry Potter and all that other stuff. It is an attraction. I get it. Watching this movie, when you actually get to what look like real practical sets, then yes, you're talking about a place that's like, wow, that looks like a cool place to be. That looks like a cool place to go and visit, or at least see in real life, kind of like the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids set with the grass and everything. I wanted to go to that grass as a kid. And I heard that it was like, there was like a part of the set, or a good portion of the set at Universal Studios Hollywood. I wanted to go there. I wanted to see it in real life, to be able to see it and touch it and feel it and stuff. I'm watching Adventures in Wonderland on Disney Plus. Practical sets all around everybody. Trees and everywhere. All the stuff looks real and it looks fun and it looks like a place where you want to go and you want to visit and you want to spend time there. All that stuff looks good. All that tangible looking stuff looks really good and helps drive the movie. Now, if the people the potheads, great, terrific. Go watch my Weedology tour video on the How Do We Even Get Here channel. But if you're a Harry Potter fan and you enjoy this stuff, I can get why on the good stuff you would cling to that, but you're ignoring the terrible stuff, which is the special effects. And that really is the only terrible stuff, is the special effects. The special effects are just terrible. Anyway, the chess scene is great. The scene with Harry confronting the snivelly little dude who's the vessel for Voldemort. Apparently, Voldemort can't be in a human body, at least at this point in the series. Which, of course, he'll come back. They allude he'll come back later. Yada yada. Great, fantastic. Or that scene is particularly good. And it leaves open questions. You know what I'm saying? Like you wonder stuff about, oh, why can Harry, burn him with his face or whatever, or with his hands on his face or whatever, yada yada blah blah blah. Right? And they just kind of answering it at the end there, just in case it doesn't go as a series. But it feels like they were confident that it would go as a series, particularly because of the books. And how could they not be that confident about it? Because the books were a huge deal. I was out of the age range, but it was a huge deal. And of course they would have the confidence in it. But this does still kind of work as its own insular thing. If it never took off, it could have worked as its own insular one-off movie. Right? Where they spend the whole year there, they develop this relationship, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. If it didn't work, you have this really good movie and you can wonder how. However, it worked, and we got 8 movies out of it. At the end, the Gryffindor house, which is where all the main kids are in, there's Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, something or other, and Slytherin. So, the Slytherin house is in the lead at this big banquet, and then the headmaster gets up, not Dumbledore? Is that Dumbledore? Dumbledore gets up. He's like, so here are all the points, yada, yada. However, here are more points. 50 points to Hermione, 50 points to Ron, 60 points to Harry, 10 points to the little kid that they froze because they had to get to the adventure. Oh, my math is great. They won by 10 points. Look at that. All of a sudden, they just took it out of Slytherin's hands, which is where the protagonist was. Now, Harry Potter fans make a big deal about your houses, right? You want to know? I'll get to my house in a second. But I want to say this. Already, one movie in, especially because of how they built Harry Potter up, all the little adventures that they did were really just Harry showing off. Like, really just feel like Harry was showing off. And I get that they kind of purchased that in the beginning with the credit of his family was shit and treated him like shit for the first 11 years of his life. So now he gets to show off and he gets to live his life, right? As opposed to being sequestered underneath the stairs and yada, 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 etc., etc., etc. So they bought that. However, after the 2-hour mark, after the hour and a half mark, hour 45 minutes, 2 hours, 2 hours 15, 2 hours 30 minutes, right? Where everybody's talking about Harry, you're the chosen one, Harry, you're the greatest thing ever, oh my God, Harry, 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 Harry. I kind of don't need their house to win at the end of the season, right? Especially, again, they didn't know, but especially, or they didn't for sure know, but especially if we got 8 movies out of it. Harry doesn't need to win everything in the first one. He got the Sorcerer's Stone, he got his friends, he's a wizard now, he got all this shit. He doesn't need that too. They could have given it to Slytherin. And what that does for Slytherin, and we're going to get into some wrestling talk here, what that does by putting Slytherin over at this point is it makes Slytherin stronger so that when Gryffindor does win, it's bigger. As opposed to Gryffindor winning absolutely everything. Gryffindor are the New England Patriots of Hogwarts. And everybody fucking hates the Patriots. Like, people like the underdog. Like, I hate the Patriots. I hate the Lakers. I hate these dynasty fucking teams like this. I hated the Cowboys. I don't hate them as much anymore because they ain't winning. Their dynasty days are gone. But I like these stupid I hated the Bulls. Hated the Jordan Bulls. Hated Michael Jordan and the Jordan Bulls. Hated them. Especially as a Magic fan. Hated them. It's too powerful. Too good. Win absolutely everything. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. But, again, like I said, they buy it with the first 10 years of Harry's life being shit. And fine. I'll let it go. But they could have tweaked that. He didn't need to win that too. he didn't need to win that too. They could have made the Slytherin kid a little bit more powerful. They didn't need to win that too. Anyway, this is a give and take movie. in many aspects. Well, not in many aspects. It's a give and take movie in those aspects that I mentioned, but in a lot of the other core stuff, it's really well done, and I get why it has its esteem, at least some of it, a lot of it, at least so far, right? Like, who knows what the other 7 movies will hold. I'm sure they're fantastic, especially as more budget came in, better effects hopefully came in, and the cast grew up and got older and matured in their roles, I'm sure, because they're already starting at a great point for kid actors, at a fantastic, at like the height of kid acting, like really impeccable work. So I'm sure over the years, it's all that stuff is going to get better. So Harry Potter and the Sorcerer / Philosopher's Stone at this point is really starting from a great place. Its setbacks are huge, but its pluses are really big too. Like, its pluses are way big, super duper big. And to that effect, we're going to start some wars here. Out of $15, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer / Philosopher's Stone, I'm going to tell you right now, is not $15 because of the things I knocked off. It's not. In that aspect, $15, like I mentioned, is Ghostbusters, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Jurassic Park. Right? In that aspect, that's what that is. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer / Philosopher's Stone ain't $15. But out of $15, and again, because of the pluses that it has, the amazing cast that it has, and the world that it builds really, really well, out of $15, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer / Philosopher's Stone, I don't know if I feel like a sell-off for saying this. I don't think I do. I don't. I don't feel like a sell-off for saying this. Because realistically, it does earn this rating. No, it doesn't. The special effects drag it down. The special effects do drag it down. So I'm gonna settle on $12.50. I was gonna give it $13, but out of $15 is $12.50 because the special effects and the stuff I mentioned does drag it down. It could have. It was on pace. Realistically, if you sum up all the good stuff, right, without any of the bad stuff, you would look at that and say that's a 15 out of 15 movie. However, fucking troll. The Quidditch game! The Centaur! The wall. And the dog! Yeah, $12.50. $12.50 out of $15 is what I'm giving Harry Potter and the Philosopher / Sorcerer's Stone. Those special effects, dear God. And by the way, if I think too much longer on this, I'm going to drop it to 12. So I'm just going to end it right here. And I'm going to say, party people, tell me how correct. Oh, you wanted to know what house I was in. Of course you do, because you all want to know what house I am. You ask people, oh, your house, where's your house? According to WizardingWorld.com, I am a Hufflepuff. Dedication, patience, and loyalty. You probably know that some of Hufflepuff's most renowned members include Nymphadora Tonks, I don't, Cedric Diggory, is he related to Diggle from Arrow? But did you know that Hufflepuff's house ghost, the Fat Friar, still resents the fact that he was never made a cardinal, or that Huff and Puff has produced the fewest dark wizards of any house at Hogwarts? You must not know about me. But yes, okay, great. Anyway, that's my house. You, in your house or car or wherever you're watching this, / listening to it, because let's face it, a lot of people just throw on YouTube and they listen to it. And I get that, I do it too. But I need you to tell me, get it down there in the comments section how correct I am on this. Also, here's a discussion I need you to figure out. Why are special effects so terrible? Still, in 2021, why are we allowing special effects to be not as good as they could be? Why are we forgetting the good special effects movies from 20, almost 40 years ago at this point? How the fuck are we letting this shit pass? Anyway. How correct I am in that comment section. I need you to like buttonus, smashopolis. I need you to share phenomenon, right? Subscribe if you want to, but all that other stuff. Also, I have a podcast with my homeboy Trey. Comes out every Thursday. It's called How Do We Even Get Here podcast. You can find it in the description down below. Wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, we're probably there. We're on 13 different, as I'm taping this, listening platforms as of right now. All you have to do is search How Do We Even Get Here, and you'll find us. That's where we are. Or our link tree, or all other stuff. All the links are in the description down there. And in the meantime, the in-between time, cheers.
I'm a nice guy, I'm a nice place, with a nice smile on my nice face. Turn it back and I'm making sure my night's straight. And when you're out of town, I'll be making sure your wife's straight.